This is going to be a harsh reality as we all wake up in 2030. What I'm about to share with you, of course, is my opinion. Do your own research. I only state things that I'm actually doing, things that I research. The goal is empowerment for you to make your own decisions. With the government shutdown, number one, Bitcoin is hitting an all-time high as I do this video right now for a couple reasons. Number one, it's part of the cycle. Number two is Bitcoin is becoming the safe haven for the elites, and I'm gonna explain to you why. The Trump family is taking over the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Morgan Stanley is saying they're seeing this as gold, Bitcoin. I've been sharing that with you guys since I brought up my plan to you. With the government shutdown, you're seeing the elites move their money into things like Bitcoin, and here's what's about to happen. Is the Trump family is gonna work to tokenize all of their real estate through the Steve Witkoff family. Study the Witkoff family. Study the Lutnick family, Howard Lutnick and his family in Cantor. Study the Witkoff family, who created World Liberty Financial, and they teamed up with the Trump boys and Donald Trump, to include Barron Trump, who's now worth $80 million in crypto at 18, 19 years old. Eric Trump was just on the PBD podcast and mentioned that he knows Brad Garlinghouse and is a big fan. Talked about XRP, they talked about Bitcoin, they talked about Ethereum. The Trump family has their blue chip crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, CRO, and XRP. These are all the cryptos I've been talking about since 2020. Now, how did I know this before Trump got elected and became the crypto capital of the world, creating a Bitcoin strategic reserve? Because I don't focus on hype. I don't focus on I study. Guys, this is your new system. Bitcoin's the new gold. Go to the CFTC website and look up Bitcoin. XRP, XLM, HBAR, QNT, now WLFI, you have Ethereum, you have Solana. These are all infrastructural changes. Stop looking at them as cryptos. Look at them as infrastructural changes to your financial system and study it. You should never invest in it unless you can explain it to a 10-year-old. Imagine sitting there and they're like, we're gonna build railroad tracks. We're gonna move stuff on these trains that go across the whole United States. And you're like, why don't we invest in the railroad tracks, picks and shovels, and the trains that go across? Or make the parts that make the trains go along the rails. The oil families, the infrastructure families, the real estate families. This is that moment in time. And how do I know it? Because we did it. All the things in my portfolio are all the things that the Trump family is talking about. I've stuck with my narrative. I haven't changed it since 2020. Go back, watch my videos. I've been stoic, I've been calm, and I built a plan. Inside and outside of crypto, I think it's absolutely foolish to be married to crypto and wait for saviors. I think it's important to be diversified. I think it's important to understand how to beat inflation. Because the fact is, if you don't know how to beat inflation, you don't understand inflation, you're gonna get wrecked 100% of the time. You have to beat inflation, and you have to understand interest rates. The whole system is debt. Imagine you're sitting in a hole, okay? You're born in a hole, which is the American monetary system, which is a trap, which is a debt-based system, especially since 1971. They detached us from the gold standard, but it started in 1913. When the Federal Reserve was created, which is not federal nor reserve, they control interest rates and job markets. Before 1913, we used to tariff other countries, and now they started taxing us even deeper. Federal income tax was much lower before 1913. So they started taxing us. They started controlling the monetary system through interest rates. Why would they control it through interest rates? Well, who runs the Federal Reserve? The bankers. And how do banks make money? Interest income, fee income, and capital markets income. So think about this for just a moment. If I can keep you in debt, then I make profit as a banker. Pretty simple. It's just math, guys. Money compounds every 7 years at 10%. But what happens is when you detach from a gold standard, and you don't have anything back in your currency like we did in 1971, you get a free checkbook. You can print as much money as you want. Well, everything works until it doesn't. Then America tipped and is now negative debt to income ratio. We have more debt than we have income. 30% is held out to the United States. Most of it's held by Japan and China. So now we have more debt than we have income. The wealthier keep getting wealthier, and the working class is moving down to the working poor. You're sitting in a hole. You're born in a hole. Inflation's on top. They have a shovel of dirt that they keep pouring more on top of you. So if you don't beat inflation 2 to 3% every year, you become poor without doing anything. And you have a backpack on, which is debt, because they make money off debt. So they can keep you putting rocks in your backpack, an auto loan, a car loan, I said an auto loan already, a mortgage, a credit card, borrowing to buy your TV. Your backpack gets heavier, the inflation's pouring on top of you, and you're never gonna get out of the debt-based cycle. So the Americans get all excited when we lower interest rates because you can monetize more debt. But who does that make richer? The people who understand the assets. There's only assets and liabilities. One man's assets are another man's liabilities. There's no money in the system. That's it. So you have to learn to beat inflation. So that's how I built my plan. Not off emotion, not off hype, not off riddlers, not off get rich quick meme coins. I said, how the hell could I beat inflation? How could I get on the right side of the cash flow quadrant? Because if cash is trash and it only has 3% purchasing power since the Federal Reserve was created, it's collapsed 96, 97%, how can I transmute the stuff that I trade time for and I get paid for? How can I scale, stop trading time for money, and eventually be where all my money frees up time? The only way I can do that is beat inflation. You have to get the rocks out of your backpack, the personal debt off your back, and take your income and put it into assets that beat inflation. That's it. So I don't care if you invest in Bitcoin, XRP, gold, silver, a piece of turd. You have to beat inflation. So that's what I did. I built a system. That's why I don't get emotional about this. I follow the system. It's called Capital DR. Cash flow into appreciating assets that have fixed supplies. You can use gold, silver. I use Bitcoin and XRP, and I'll explain in just a moment. I use cash value life insurance as protection, and then leverage to do what? Richest man in Babylon. Repeat the process. And DR, capital DR, DR is de-risk, de-risk, de-risk. When I'm coaching somebody, I say it 3 times because some of my portfolio is high risk. When I make profit, I de-risk into things will be here forever. The first annuity was in the Roman days. Insurance started in the Roman days. Insurance is the foundation of the risk pyramid. It is at the bottom. If it collapses, the whole world collapses. Okay, so I work to create cash flow. Cash is trash. I move my cash into 2 things every single time I get paid. I keep my bills lean and mean. 10% goes into dividends, other companies that are going to pay me monthly checks. I don't have to do nothing. Okay. The rest goes into deflationary assets. I stack Bitcoin, XRP, and Solana. Those are my top 3. And at the end, I'll tell you my top 7. So let's go XRP and Bitcoin. They have fixed supplies that are opposite of this funky US monetary system. They get more valuable based on their scarcity. So as you lost 24% of your purchasing power, remember inflation from 2020 to 2024, and the tech giants became wealthier and the wealth gap became much larger and the middle class went down to the working poor, I grew my XRP by 800% and my Bitcoin by 200%. So it worked. But when I profit, I don't sit there and watch crypto go up and go down. I pull profits from my altcoins. Bitcoin, we're going to move over to leverage. We're not touching it. It's a supercharged savings, grows 50% every year. I pull profits. I hold 50% forever and I pull off the top. I think it's ridiculous to just watch this stuff go up and down. We're in it to make money and build legacy for our family. So don't be tribal and married to these assets or any asset class. Beat inflation. That's it. Warren Buffett's not sitting there married to Coca-Cola. It's making him a shitload of money. That's why he does it. If they're making bad decisions and the market's going red, he's going to pull a little bit of profits. He's going to put it into something else. That's how winning is done. So I pull profits and I first max fund my policies. Well, why would I do that? Read the book Richest Man in Babylon. I put $1 into crypto. It makes 2. I pull a little bit off the table, creating a brother or sister. I put it into protection first. Now I can leverage against that protection, tax-free, tax code 7702 at 5% to beat the hurdle rate, buying another asset that pays back the loan. Now, as you made $1 go up and down, I took $1 and I made 3. And then guess what I do when that appreciating asset that I turned $1 into 3, when it goes up, I repeat the process. So now I'm in Capital DR phase number 2. Phase 1 was 2020 to 2025. Now I'm going into the bull run right now. I'm going to create a whole other ecosystem. And then by 2030, I'll have Capital DR number 3. But I always de-risk. So what should you get from this? Beat inflation. Understand interest rates. Got a backpack on with a bunch of debt and they keep pouring more dirt on you. So study that. Don't copy what I do. Figure out what to do. My top 6 are XRP, Bitcoin, Solana, HBAR, WFI, and VeChain. The last ones I always mix up the order. I love you guys. Warriors, rise. Get your shit together. God bless you.